So I'm Kathy. I was telling you a little bit about myself, and thanks for sharing info, Kate, about what you guys do and information about opening and closing. I know it's such an interesting time to navigate all this, isn't it? Just kind of trying to keep aware, keep pivoting, because things keep changing, of course. So one of the things that's been interesting to me is I've talked to so many different libraries, and everybody's really just trying to find ways to communicate. So that's one of the, I think, big pluses about LibraryAware is that it really gives a lot of different kind of channels and platforms and ways to kind of navigate that. So I'm hoping you both are having no trouble seeing a screen. You should be seeing a screen titled Keep Readers Engaged. So looks like you're nodding. Okay, great. I always like to check in just to make sure. Um, so one of the cool things about LibraryAware is that it's got a couple of different really big components of functionality, and you'll see that reflected here on this slide. Over here on the right, we've got examples of all the different kinds of templates that we offer in LibraryAware. And that's one of the big pluses, I think, for LibraryAware, because what we offer is the ability to take advantage of those, and we make our templates as ready to go as we know how to make them. So you'll see just a few of the examples here for things like flyers or bookmarks, different pieces of signage, things like brochures, email blasts, shelf talkers, posters. So because we've got the luxury of having two full-time designers on staff, they're able to not only create and add beautiful graphics like the ones that you see here, but they also keep abreast of changes. They kind of make templates really quickly, kind of in response to things that are happening. So you'll see right now a lot of social justice oriented templates, for example. And of course, they add some reading templates early on, usually by early February, so that you've got plenty of time to get summer reading materials kind of cranked up before the season actually starts. And by the way, I throw that out because I'm a children's librarian, and so I always think like, wow, right now I'd be really in the thick of summer reading planning for sure. So we do all that, and we support all different kinds of national initiatives like Band of Books, National Library Card Sign Up Month, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. So we really make sure that we've got templates that support all the different things that we know go on in libraries. And so something else we do is, we being the royal we, not me, our designers, full credit, but they curate our stock image gallery as well. So we have lots of images that reflect the kinds of things that happen in libraries, and then beautiful supporting graphics as well, because we know how much time it takes to dig around on the internet and find things that don't have copyright restrictions. So we really try hard to remove that pain point by making some beautiful looking templates, just like the ones that you see here. And we also, you'll hear me talk about it too when we go into the product, we really respond to customer feedback because we know that there are things that we forget or things that are happening that maybe we didn't anticipate. One example is we just made a flyer not too long ago for Tiger King because that just kind of came out of nowhere, just sort of blew up. And we thought, we need a template for that. So we do take suggestions, and we really try to make sure we're responsive to things that are trending. So that's one area, big area of functionality with LibraryAware. And the other is what you see on the left. And these are what we call our Next Reads newsletters. So we now have 26 newsletters that are both fiction and nonfiction. We've got 4 for youth, kids books, picture books, teens and tweens. We have the New York Times fiction and nonfiction bestseller lists, and we have all the major genres, as I mentioned. And with regard to the nonfiction choices, we have, let's see, ones like popular culture, biography and memoir, DIY, gardening, financial, Christian, and inspirational fiction. So we've really covered the gamut of different reading choices that your patrons might be interested in. And so the cool thing about these, and again, just to echo what you heard about the different flyers and different promotional materials on the right that we were talking about, is that what we try to do is make it super easy for your community to keep abreast of things that they might want to check out. and then also just be made aware of different really great book selections. So we've got, as you can imagine, a real process for this because we've got a team of librarians whose sole purpose is to choose books and to write these great annotations so that you don't have to. So the way that kind of works is that they use a variety of collection development sources that I'm sure you use. They use all the different ones I remember using, everything from Kirkus, School Library Journal, Voya, all the usual suspects. And so they choose starred reviewed books, and then they go the additional mile of vetting those against World Cat holdings so that they make sure that they're actually using books that libraries across the country are purchasing. So they choose well, and they choose books that are interesting, and then they do these really great annotations. And so one of the things I like about these is the fact that they call out very reader-focused information, and they remind me a little bit about the kind of a conversation, almost like a book elevator pitch, not a plot rehash, but they kind of remind me of the conversations that I would have kind of over my shoulder as I was dashing over to the shelf to grab a book for someone. Oh yeah, you're gonna love this because. So they call out that kind of fun information. And they also set these up so that they're very skimmable because you'll see that each graph is bolded. So they make connections. If a book has maybe been optioned for a movie, they might call that out. If it's a series starter, they might call that out. So they make them fun and easy to read. And then each title, as you can see, is hyperlinked so that you're not only providing your patrons and your readers with really great newsletters that are fun to read, but you're making it super easy for them to take action on something that you just got them all jazzed about reading. So what we always do is you'll see from the title of the section, we always lead with the recent releases. And those are books that have been published within the last year. But what it isn't are all those James Pattersons or David Baldacci. It's not those because those are covered in the New York Times fiction and nonfiction Next Reads newsletters. So all those readers for sure are taken care of. But this is for that next level of reader, those ones that really like hearing about those good books that, oh yeah, this sounds really great. So they always have 5 or 6 titles within those new releases. And then if you drop down, what's not shown on this slide is there's also another section, which is the Spotlight section. So for example, if this happened to be a mystery newsletter, that Spotlight section would be slightly older books, not books that are like 20 years old, but books that are like 2 years old. So it might be books that maybe somebody missed because maybe they forgot to pick up their hold or they went on vacation and couldn't finish it. So you're giving your patrons just one more opportunity to have another crack at maybe getting a book that for some reason they didn't finish or didn't get to check out. So the Spotlight section is always kind of a variation of the overall theme of the newsletter. So if this happened to be mystery, that Spotlight section, it might be something like mysteries with recipes or mysteries that take place on bases or, just some kind of a variation on the theme. So they're always fun to read. They're always very skimmable. And the fact that our librarians do all the heavy lifting makes it super easy for you guys and hopefully removes the pain point of having to pull all this together because it's always easier just to look at something and tweak it than it is just to start from scratch. So these are definitely many of our libraries feel like the value add is the fact that they don't have to do anything because we maintain the delivery schedule. We make sure that they're sent out in such a way that they don't overlap. And so we hopefully take all those pain points away and make it just you guys just to send them out. And something I didn't mention, let me back up. You'll see that there's placeholder branding here, but just picture this with your library's branding because what we do as part of your setup is we put your library's branding in there. So these are audienced to come from your library. So what we want to do is to make it super easy for you to get the word out about good books that you have and make it very easy for your patrons then to take action and go get those books. So that's kind of that steady chug, chug, chug of those Next Reads newsletters that are just kind of rolling along, doing that. And then what you can be doing is thinking about using our templates to make custom newsletters. And so this is where it gets really great because these are the ones you can have fun with because the other ones are just kind of cranking along. I picture them, I'm a foodie, so I always think about food, but they're like that nice pot of stew on the stove. They're just kind of bubbling away and everybody's happy. And then in the meantime, you're making the fancy appetizers, which are these custom newsletters. So these are ones you can make however you like. You can send them out as often as you like. They can be as long or as short about anything that you want to do. Smattering of examples on this slide about ones that different libraries have done with a really different look and feel. For sure, because just like with the other ones, you can put your library's branding, your color palettes, your font styles, anything that you use to brand yourselves. We can help you set it up in just the way you would like it to be. And the kinds of things that people choose, I've seen people do things like one community, one book. I've seen folks do things like maybe call out different databases that they got that are new purchases in case people don't know about them. If you have a program, it's a great way to communicate with volunteers. Trying to think of other things that I've seen people do a lot of. Oh, a lot of folks do a DVD newsletter because we're synced to book index review. So you can really easily pull in DVD jackets. And I know there's not a patron around who doesn't like to know about the latest, greatest DVDs and movies. So lots of different uses for those. And really, you can just think about what makes your library special and really call out those things. So can't say enough good things about those custom newsletters because again, they're just a really just excellent tool. So you can combine book information, event information, all different kinds of things here. So something else I like to just really give you something to think about is with the subscription, one of the things that brings folks to us quite often, two things. One is the subscriber numbers. There are a lot of services out there, email services that definitely allow you ease of use. They make it super easy to pull together e-blasts or newsletters, but often those come with a price, which is that the subscriber numbers are set. And so once you exceed some kind of given threshold, then you get a fee increase. So I just wanted you to be aware of and just think about what you're getting as part of whatever it is that you pay for and make sure that you're getting exactly what you need. Because most of our users find that when they do newsletters and they do e-blasts, it's so easy that they add more and then they have more subscribers. And so those are all things just to think about as you think about what your needs are, make sure that you're getting the best fit for what you would like to be doing. So along with that, we don't have any limit on the number of sends for emails or newsletters, no limit to the number of users. So if you wanted everybody on your library staff to have an account, you most certainly could do that. And we also keep adding images, graphic elements, templates, just like, as I was telling you before, in response to feedback, as just part of our routine work, things that, for example, right now you'll see when we go into LibraryAware, a lot of examples of changes that we've made, particularly to summer reading materials, because everything's different now. So our designers have added things like online reading logs, ways that you can do programming that are kind of spin-off events based on summer reading that are all virtual. So our designers had to scramble, just like you guys are, just to make sure that we've got the kinds of materials that support the changes in the programming and types of services that everybody's offering. So just want you to be aware of what you get when you think about services that you're considering. And so one of the other things that's so cool about the newsletters, both the Next Reads newsletters and then any custom newsletters that you might choose to put together, is that you can do different things with them once they're published. So one of the cool things that I like is that once these newsletters are published, you can take advantage of the widget functionality that we offer as part of LibraryAware. And so all that means is it's a place to hold a snip of code. you point that toward a particular newsletter so that every time that newsletter is published, it refreshes this book image carousel. And you can put these anywhere on your website. You could put them, I've seen lots of folks put them on their catalog page. And the New York Times is particularly good for that because it's almost like a prompt. Because I think a lot of times, just like people walk up to the desk and you say, "Hey, what can I help you find?" and they go blank. I think a lot of folks can do that at the catalog too. Like, "Oh, I know there's something I want. I just can't remember what it is." So this is almost like a nudge. So it gives them a little bit of a little prompt as to something they might want to know more about. Um, the other cool thing that I've been seeing a lot more of is people using it as a way to market staff. So a lot of times I've seen kind of like a staff picks kind of event where you've got your picture, Kate or Sandy, and a little blurb about you and what you like, and then some carousels that show what you guys like to read. And that way anybody say, "Ooh, Kate gets me. She reads just like I read. I'm going to ask her, for a good book suggestion." And one of my favorite ones, I guess, because I'm a children's librarian, is there was one children's librarian who not only made carousels for what she read during story time that week, which I thought was genius, because of course parents want to know that always. Um, and then she also put a carousel that featured books she read as a child, which I thought was really just clever and just said a lot about her. And again, it's one more way that you guys can promote all the different parts of your collection because, of course, nobody reads the same stuff. So it's, I don't know, I get really excited about those. I think that's really, really, really a nice kind of a way to do that. So this again, hat tip to designers because they make this look beautiful and I'm sure it's not effortless, although it looks that way. But the advantage to you is that you've got that reader's advisory approach kind of baked into these templates because they do things like that Tiger King. That's fascinating to me. And things like this, scariest baby on the block. You'll see all different kinds of angles that you can take advantage of. They almost always will do a flyer if a book is announced as an award winner. If an author passes away, they do a commemorative flyer to respect and honor that author's death and to promote their works. So they're constantly on the lookout for things that they know will be of interest to patrons who will be coming in asking about those things and making sure that we can support you by having a template for you to make it super easy for you to do what you do. And so not to say that our work is perfect. If you see a flyer like this, it's perfectly lovely, but maybe you just want to use your own image or maybe the color palette doesn't work for you. You can always do some tweaking. So you can swap out things like that, the font choice, a color palette, or maybe you don't want to promote Once in Future because you've only got one copy left and it's looking a little raggedy, so you want to swap that one out. So there are all kinds of ways to really pull that information in and out super fast so that you can make it do and look and feel however you would like it to. So I know you guys have Novelist. So one thing that you might be kind of hopefully happy and excited to learn is that those two products talk to each other. So you can take advantage of that searchability and that robust set of appeals and genre headings and do some really great targeted searching and then pull those titles into LibraryAware via some folder functionality that we have in Novelist. And then make some nice looking book lists or email blasts or social posts or whatever you would like to do. So this is when I always want to tell you about kind of new enhancements to Novelist, just in case you don't know about them. So the one I'm excited about, because I used to get questions like this at my library. I went from being a children's librarian to a branch manager, and invariably people would come in saying, "Hey, did you see the Today Show or CBS Sunday Morning or what have you? And did you remember that book that they mentioned? Because I want to check it out." And that would be the same patron who would not remember the title or the author and tell you, but the book was read. I remember that. So for helping with that kind of question, we now have a drop-down menu on the advanced search page. So you can search and see what's mentioned on something like Morning Joe or I don't know, just any of those shows I mentioned. it'll give you a nice search result list that will feature any book mentioned within the last 6 months. So that functionality is called Media Mentions. You can do a two-letter field code search, and it's MM. So you would just do MM for Media Mentions and then the Today Show, and do it from the search box. But if you don't want to do that, just go to the advanced search page, and you'll see a nice, super easy drop down. So the other cool part of that is that as part of that, we also recently added all those celebrity book clubs that patrons, go gaga over, like Oprah, Reese Witherspoon, um, Jenna Bush Hager. So all of those are also part of that drop down. And so the reason I always think of this right now is that because our designers are superstars, they made a book buzz template. So you can do that really super easy work of doing that search and then pulling those right over and populating that book buzz template. And you've got an instant Facebook post because it's really easy to push out that kind of thing. So just wanted to make sure that you knew about that functionality because it's actually fairly new to Novelist. So that's something to scope out. Again, just more of the same of the kinds of templates that we try to make as ready to go as possible. So you'll see that we really respect and really work hard to look for things that we know are happening and make sure that you've got plenty of templates that can reflect anything that you do, whether it's something seasonal, whether it's something to do with technology, anything like that. You will see us start to add templates to reflect that and also to make some changes or add things, like I mentioned before, about anything that we may have missed and or anything that's become a thing. And so these are something I'm really excited about because the infographics, you just see them all over the place now. And so we got right on that bandwagon. And I'm pointing at this one on the left, but the one I'm thinking about is called A Year in Review. And the reason I'm so attracted to that one is because I used to have to write a monthly report that was always so boring because I felt like I was saying the same thing over and over. And really, all people want is the data. They want to know how many visits did you have, how many books circled. So it's a really great way to present information that's definitely important and definitely something you want to get out to your stakeholders, but you don't have to worry about all the text. So we've got lots of templates that we keep adding that really help with those things. And we also have templates that reflect things that come up, such as why you want to encourage kids to use databases and not Google. So we've got things like this that have facts about why that's helpful. And we have some for summer slide because we know that that's something that comes up this time of year that parents are concerned about. So we've got lots of really good fodder in terms of presenting your story and helping you tell your story in a way that makes sense and that's actually very easy to put together. So that's something I love. And then kind of toward the same end, on the other side of the spectrum over here, we actually formed a partnership with every library and we did a webinar with them. And if you know anything about that organization, you know that they are all about library advocacy just all the time. Don't wait for, a particular specific need. Just tell your story as often as you can in as many channels and formats as you can. And so after we had that webinar, it occurred to us, hey, we should put together some templates because guess what? People are going to want to do this because it makes great good sense. And so we've got this whole series of things like doorknob hangers, shelf talkers, flyers, all kinds of pieces to help you really get the word out about why a library card is such a great thing to have and to encourage folks to come in and get one. So I don't know if you have digital signage, but if you do, that you'll be glad to know that there's functionality such so that the things that you create in LibraryAware you can push to digital signage as well. So do you guys have digital signage inside the library?
No, we don't, but
Okay.
well, we don't yet. We're always looking for things to upgrade to, so
Sure. Well, just and we added this slide because we found that so many people were asking about it. My library actually did not have digital signage either, but there are other folks who for whom this is apparently a pain point. So they were pretty happy that we added that kind of functionality. So I just wanted you to be aware that it's something that's the product's capable of. Um, and so this is probably my favorite slide because this is something that I found a little bit challenging as when I went from being a children's librarian to a branch manager, because folks definitely benefit from databases, but it's hard to find ways to talk about them that's interesting and really convey the full power of what they can do. So again, we did another webinar. We partnered with 20 libraries of all kinds of different sizes across the country. And this was kind of a universal pain point. And so we tried to help them solve that pain point. And so our designers came up with this email blast template that you see here. And I'm pointing at the top because they call this benefits-driven messaging, which just means show people what it can do. And so I think this kind of template really achieves that by making it really easy for anybody who's the recipient of this kind of email to immediately get what this product's all about. You almost don't even have to read the text. You just get it. You see this, and it was extremely effective. But the thing that I found interesting from a librarian perspective as I was part of this, I think I was the moderator for this webinar, is that people found so many different ways to use these templates. You would use it as part of this series of emails they sent out to new cardholders just to kind of welcome them and tell them what the library's all about. Many of them put their picture, their contact info, so they made it very inviting for people who are new. And I could see you guys doing that because I know you would want to welcome folks new to post. So it seems like that would be an ongoing need. Um, and then also people used it in conjunction with library card sign up month, like, hey, don't forget, it's time to get a card and this is why it's important. Or you could do it just at different times of year to highlight different resources, like test prep kinds of time of year for teens who are studying for SAT or whatnot. So I can see lots of different uses for this kind of a template, and that's why I like to talk about this one because it to me really um, took me right back to my library days, and I thought of lots of different ways that folks in my community would have benefited from this just by seeing different specific databases that fit specific needs. In my neck of the woods, I had a lot of folks building, like constructing decks and constructing improvements to their homes. So it would have been a great way to talk about a DIY database. Anyway, you get the idea, but I just wanted to tell you about those and just how cool they are. And so we didn't stop with that. We started adding these kits because why not? If you have Novelist, you certainly want to talk about it. And something that we really wanted to communicate about Novelist is that it's not just for librarians. It's super easy now for readers to really get excited about it, to take advantage of some of those appeal terms, to learn what language meshes with the thing that they love and the kind of experience that they want to have as a reader, and be able to replicate that and find even more books. So we added a whole series of materials to support Novelist usage. Same with Learning Express, and same with some kinds of career and job focused sorts of books and materials. So we've got tons of templates that will really lend themselves to the different kinds of interests that I know would be a part of both people on post who are serving in this service and also dependents as well. So just know that there's lots of kits and probably, I would imagine, more to come. And I noticed that you have Novelist Select. So the other instance of our products talking to each other goes between LibraryAware and Novelist Select. So imagine somebody searching the catalog, they're sitting at home in their PJs, they're looking for some good stuff. Maybe they're searching summer reading. This is your opportunity then to really make sure they see all the things that you've got going on, whether it's newsletters they can sign up for, or signage or flyers about an upcoming event. And honestly, with COVID, it's really important now more than ever to leverage every opportunity to make sure that people are seeing everything that you have at any time that they're accessing either your website or your catalog. And what you don't see here is that you also can activate your e-resources. So for example, if you let's pretend you can have an author visit. Let's pretend the libraries can open soon. because I want to believe that. I miss my library. So pretend there's an author visit. Someone's coming to your library. So the patron might search that person's name. So they'll see newsletters that are associated with that, if it's a certain genre, um, event focused information, and then maybe like an author biography database over here. So they'll see everything that you have that relates to the search that they were motivated enough to do, sit down and take the time to search your catalog. So it just leverages your catalog and makes sure that you're utilizing it fully and letting people know everything that you're all about. Because this is what we want for you. We want you to be able to create a flyer, maybe a supporting bookmark and an email blast, and spend less time on that creation and more time thinking about, okay, what channel do I want to use? How do I want to get the word out about this beautiful thing that I just created? And really let you start to think about what channels work, which messages resonate, and really start to get a sense of that by being able to tap into the metrics and just to compare. So you might want to see, because I noticed you guys have a nice active Facebook page. So maybe you want to start keeping tabs on, hey, is Facebook kind of getting the job done for us? Do we want to do some supporting things? You can just really start to get a sense of whether program information is resonating more or maybe genre information. You can start to actually get a sense of what's working and then make sure that you can channel your energies and your effort what makes sense for your community. So make it, try to make it, it's all about removing the pain, making it as pain-free as possible. So do more, less pain, good for everybody. So just want to show you, and sorry, I thought I had this queued up. Apparently I do not. Let me just move this on over. So you should be seeing a LibraryAware screen. Are you guys seeing that?
No,
Nothing
I'm just
yet.
seeing
It's a dark
a black
screen.
screen.
Let's see. That's means I'm doing something wrong here. Oh, there we go. Now,
Yep, we're in.
okay, perfect.
Thank
I
you.
just went to the eye doctor. That makes me think of better or worse? Better or worse? Great. So let me pause for a second and just see if there are any questions that came to mind. I know I threw a lot of information at you, so I just want to check in before I kind of get all excited about LibraryAware.
I don't have any questions. I think this product is absolutely fabulous. So,
Oh, good. So glad to hear it. Well, you just wait, because there's more. But wait, there's more. So one of the things I really just am very proud to talk about is just how much the design of the homepage speaks to the feedback that we get and our ability to translate that feedback into some changes that I think are really great. So this is the homepage and what you can expect. So what we got in terms of feedback that we heard loud and clear was people wanted a search box. So the cool thing about the search box is that you can search for all different kinds of things. COVID, and that came to my mind, of course, because we're all in the midst of it. And you can see by the number here that we've added a huge number of templates just for that. I thought about this too because we actually have a campaign guide that's literally hot off the press. We just developed it last week. That's because we've gotten so many inquiries from folks about just that whole notion of step by step. What are the kinds of things that we should be thinking about? So you can see that not only there's a campaign guide, but if you search campaign guide, you'll get all the supporting templates that you would need that mesh with the kind of advice that's being presented to you in the form of suggestions. So you can search in a really broad way here. And then you also, if you notice on the left, there are limiters. So if that you knew that you just wanted to make something like an e-blast, you can just narrow to that and then just be presented with all the different e-blast templates like the ones that you see here. And so I searched COVID because I really like the kinds of ones that we've done. We've missed you a lot. Message from the director. Here's some new rules. Just all different kinds of things. So you could search things like that. You could search things like, of course, summer reading. You could search book clubs. So we've got all different kinds of ways to search broadly and then use those limiters to really get at the thing that you're most interested in. So I wanted to show you that. That's all serious. Now I'm going to show you the fun searches. Like, of course, if this were me, I would never use this because I'm not a designer. I would be so lazy. I would just take those templates and run. But if you liked a certain kind of aspect like stripes or polka dots, just know that you can search those and just find templates that you could kind of jimmy and tweak to suit your purposes. So you can do that, or even some of those novelist appeal terms like creepy. And the only reason I'm searching this is just to show you this one template that has this really creepy clown. It's this one. That's a theme in Novelist, creepy clowns and bad seeds. And that always gives me nightmares. So I do this every time. I can't help myself. I go right to it. So anyway, I'm getting away from it now. So just the power of the search box is great. And for those who don't like searching, we have the section that's the lead here, which is new releases, because everybody told us they want to see the new templates. They don't want to go dig around for them. And so that's what we did. We made this new releases section, and it's super easy to just scroll through and just see all the latest, greatest, as you can see here. And the nice thing about any of these templates, if you just simply wanted an idea for something that's kind of cool and funny that you could post on, could do this. If you see something you like, go right to that create button and you're in the template and you can just get going right from this first initial screen. And so that was intentional. And again, we heard that people want to be able to get to the new stuff and then dig right in immediately. And the other change, which I think is also a good one, is that we added this second category called My Starred Items. So you can actually, and you'll see on these templates, this reflects all the work that you've done most recently. And the star comes into play. You'll see there's a star down here. Preferences so that you only see your work and you see your latest work. So that, for example, if you do lots of different things all year round, but right now you just want to see summer reading stuff, you can just star it, and that will be the stuff, the materials that are presented to you, so you don't have to wade through all the other things that you've been working on and go right to, again, the work that's most important to you. And so you'll see all the things that I've been working on are shown here. And instead of that blue create button, now you see an edit button because this is something that you've been working on. You just wanted to finish or maybe edit or tweak. So that's that next section. So we've got a LibraryAware staff picks, which just reflect things that they want to make sure that you see. And then the last category is called Trending Now. And no surprise there, it's very seasonal. It's reflecting all the things going on right now as part of what's going on in society. So lots of activism, anti-racism kinds of templates, tons of signage about reopening, because of course everybody is all about that right now. So you'll see that just lots of good stuff. And again, you can go right to that create button and just get going. So while I'm down here at the bottom, you'll see that there's a chat icon. So this appears on every screen in LibraryAware, and I'm going to just pop it right open. So it's really easy to, as you're working on something, if you have any kind of question at all about anything that you're doing, it's a really the fastest, greatest, most effective way to get help immediately. Our chat staff, we're all based in North Carolina, so we're on Eastern Standard Time like you are, and our support team are just really awesome because they have seen and answered any question that you can imagine. And I'm smiling because they get, we have a report of feedback that they get every week, and it's always pretty happy people because nobody wants to come back and finish something later. If you've got time to sit down and do something, then you want to get it done. And so this chat really helps you be able to achieve that. So it's offered during business hours, 9 to 6 currently. We're looking to expand those hours in the evening as well. So that might be something that will be coming as well. So all of those are just ways to really quickly get at the latest, greatest stuff. And often I think people come to LibraryAware, they see some really cool templates and they don't have to think about those because they get an idea just by coming here. So that's something I wanted to make you aware of. We are adding functionality starting in July. And you'll see I'm going to this top black area at the very top of the screen. We were just here on home and now I'm on folders. So I wanted to show you this because this is almost finishing up here, the work that we're doing with folders. And we wanted to make it very easy for people as they work and create volume in LibraryAware to be able to organize it in a way that makes sense. And I always think about Marie Kondo, your desktop should always bring you shouldn't come in and have to worry about LibraryAware clutter. So this helps you be more like Marie Kondo and not have your account all junked up. You can kind of group it in ways and chunk it in ways that make sense to you and those who work with you. So you'll see that I've got several categories reflecting things that I work on. And so the nice thing about this is, again, you can just group your work. If there's something that you know you want to just focus on, maybe there's something that you don't do right now, you can archive it just to get it out of the way, so to speak. So this is a great way to really think about easy retrieve the things that you've been working on and give yourselves ways to access those things without having a lot of pain. Be more like Marie, have joy. So we try to make it easy to do that. And again, all of that is based on lots of feedback that we've gotten. And also, because LibraryAware usually almost always there are more than one user, this is also a way to really think about starring your work and thinking about ways that you can easily only see the work that you're doing so that you don't have to wade through lots of other folks' work, but just get right at the things that you're most interested in working on. So wanted to show you that. You'll see again at the top, we've got this whole newsletter section. And there's a whole flow to those Next Reads newsletters. You get advanced copies of those books that are chosen for those Next Reads newsletters. And you've got a couple months, you've got 2 months ahead of the date that the newsletter goes out that you can take a look at those. You can edit them as you wish. And then we have a delivery schedule that we maintain so you don't have to think about the dates. It all comes to you. And most of the folks who use Next Reads just mark all those dates on their calendar so they know, oh, it's time for the teen newsletter. So that, again, we just try to make it as smooth like butter, smooth as possible for you. And what you're seeing now reflects all the different custom newsletters that I created just to show you the kinds of templates that are possibilities. And something that I like about them is that you can actually, I'll just click into this one just to show you. You can actually choose things like you can search headers. So for example, if you want to do a book club newsletter, you could search for a header that meshes with that feel of the kinds of programming and information that you want to provide. And you'll see that you get metrics on each of the newsletters. So each individual issue. You can see also that you can schedule them now or later, and you can do the same with Facebook posts or emails. Oh, funny story. So about Facebook. So someone bought LibraryAware, and one of this person's pain points, it makes me smile every time I think about this. Her pain point was she always forgot to post to Facebook when the library was closed for like a holiday or something. And so as soon as they bought LibraryAware, no joke, she pulled up the schedule of all the close dates because you know all the holidays dates for the rest of the year, and she scheduled all the posts for the rest of the year so she wouldn't have to think about it anymore. It was really super smart. Um, so I digress. I just thought that was really great. That was the thing that really made her super happy. So I think I mentioned to you that we're synced to book index review. So there are literally millions of jackets. And the other cool thing is you also can promote an instance of a book that's maybe a different format. Like maybe you want to promote the paperback version of the Hunger Games or the audio version. So you have access to all of those things. And each of these newsletters once I click into it, let's see if I can make that bigger. There we go. You'll see once I clicked into it, this toolbar got activated so that you can use the crosshatch to rearrange, just drag and drop these titles. If you wanted to edit, all you have to do is click on the rich text and it lets you edit the blurb that gets pulled in with the book. And then if you actually want to change that book, you can do that. It takes you to the book selector. You can search by keyword, author, title, ISBN. And I always search the Hunger Games because I don't usually have to look at my fingers when I type that. So it's just sheer laziness. Oh, and I just read the prequel. It was really good if you haven't read it. Kind of disturbing, but okay. Anyway, I digress. So you just click on use this book and it pops in the jacket and the title and the author and the blurb. And because part of your setup with the support team involves activating both your branding, your logo, your catalog linking, your social media, anything you want active, they kind of go down a checklist with you and just make sure it's set up just the way you would like it. But the advantage come to do this newsletter, those titles are linked. It's all done. So you don't have to worry about that part. And then you also, I'll click back into that. You can add a new section. And this is where it gets interesting because you can start to see some choices that you have about kind of the layout, the look and feel. You might want to make a super nice, interesting newsletter that has both book information and event information and e-resource information, but you can do however you would like. And you can just kind of play around a little bit and see what that looks like. And then you also can pull in those records from Novelist. And this is where you would do that. That's why I'm hovering over it on that multiple records choice. The third one down, items by folder, is how you would pull in the things from Novelist that I was telling you about with regard to media mentions or just anything you want to do, any kind of searching. Maybe you want to make a follow-up to books you read in Storytime or something. And the only hard part about that is remembering your folder name because you have to get it exactly right. If you don't, you get nothing. So that's just, I think, really great functionality that you just kind of pull those in and you populate that newsletter, you save it, whatever you want to do, all right there. So that's a little bit about newsletters. And I didn't ask you, do you have an existing newsletter or do you have like a subscriber list?
We do not at the current
Okay.
time.
Okay. Well, I was going to tell you that if you did, you can actually do a bulk upload of subscribers if you needed to do that. Like if you did a program or you did a signing everybody up for a library card and they give you their email address and you had some need to do it that way, you can just bulk upload. So that's just something I wanted you to be aware of. You also can start really thinking about creating interest groups in case that's something that you wanted to take advantage of. For folks, maybe you just want to be informed about certain programs, certain types of programs. So again, just all about different functionality that's available to you. And the reports are just all of those different metrics that I was talking about. So you can see that for all the things that you're doing, and I do pretty much nothing from this account. I just do it to show people things. But you can see the kinds of information that you're able to get with this summary so that you can see and compare different time periods if that's something of interest to you. And notice on the far right, you can actually export those search results to a spreadsheet in case, again, you want to track things over time and just different trends. So I like that. And I like the fact that, because I feel certain that you would want to know just each individual newsletter and kind of the metrics on those. So you can start to get a sense of what's of interest to people in your community. So I wanted to show you that. And then this admin section, this is where you do all the kind of the that initial setup to kind of get things the way you want them. So you put in, address, what you want the reply to email to look like. You set up your logo, your branding, all those different things that, again, just make it super easy once you start actually putting things together. You've already got all the links and everything that you need to just push materials out without having to think about that part of it. And just you're ready to go. Same with the social accounts. You'll see over on this left menu, organization access is just all about who you would like to have a LibraryAware account and what role you would like them to have. So you'll see from this this fake set of folks here that you've got different choices and different functionalities associated with those choices, as you would imagine. So a viewer is just that. It's somebody who can only just print things out. They can pull up and access LibraryAware. So that might be for maybe if you've got someone part-time, you don't want them to be able to necessarily create materials, but if someone comes in and wants a copy of a flyer, they could print it out for you, for the patron, and have access that way. Publisher role is the closest to the administrator role, and the administrator is like the colonel on base. They can do everything. The publisher has probably the next level of functionality, so they can do creation, newsletter pushes, posting to social. So you can really put those pieces of functionality where you would like them to lie with particular staff members. And this is something that you do independently of us. You can change these every day. You can delete, add people, change their role. It's entirely up to you. If you find that there's certain roles that you think like, oh, we want everybody to be a publisher, you could do that. So entirely up to you. And you're able to change whatever, just makes sense to you. So those are, I want to show you one other thing. We have an example page. And apologies, I meant to open this so we would have this. Let's see if I need to stop sharing. You should be seeing a page that says examples of libraries using LibraryAware.
We
Oh,
do,
good.
yes.
Yay. So I just want to show you a couple of different newsletters examples. So these are some of the things I like that people have been doing since COVID. This one I like because they immediately pivoted and just started communicating out that, hey, we're doing stuff still. It's just going to be online. And here's the scoop about it. So this is kind of just an example of what some newsletters can look like. And I just want to show you a couple of different ones so you can see that they're so easy to put together because they've got this nice section functionality. And then this again is put your library name in, all your contact stuff, you activate whatever social accounts that you would like to. So once you do a newsletter like that, you're just kind of ready to go. And I want to show you, I really like this one too. It's so crisp. So I like how they combine lots of different things, different staff members, different resources. And the other reason I like to show this one is that I think it really showcases that functionality in conjunction with Novelist that's so helpful. So if you wanted just to do like a section like this, it could be staff picks, it could be new books, but they pulled this information here right from Novelist. Those are, if you click into a book record, this is what you see is all the genre headings, appeal terms and factors, themes. And this is great. This, it's your subscription. So it's a great way to kind of really leverage that Novelist subscription and just make that reader-focused information really work for you and just pop it right on in there. So I wanted to show you that one. And I'll just show you, there's another one that has this is in my neck of the woods. I live near Durham in North Carolina, and this is one of my favorite newsletters because this guy, Patrick Holt, is a superstar. He's a really great librarian. He is an artist. We've worked with him on several different webinars, and he just really knows his stuff. And he saw that we don't have a Next Reads newsletter for graphic novels. And so he remedied that. And he now does a teen version and a kids version, so he's my hero. But he always makes it really super visual and interesting. And I like that he put his own image here. And brave guy, he put his contact information in there. Whoa! Um, but see, look, he's highlighting different resources. Like he's not making people guess. Like, hey, don't forget, we've got this cool thing. Use it. Here it is. So this is a good example of the new book section and then the spotlight section, because the next week's newsletters have that similar feel to them. Um, and he just keeps cross promoting all over the place like a champ. So really smart the way he uses the real estate here. And see, he promotes cross promotes their form-based readers advisory, which is called My Next Five. And don't you know, we love that he slides in a Novelist Plus little hat tip there. So you can do things like this, just anything that you want to regularly include and make sure that folks in your community are aware of. This is your real estate. You can do that. But my favorite thing, and this is why I show this, is that see what they're doing here? These are still great books. They're just a year old, you know? So he's cross promoting their whole collection basically because he's including things that should still be of interest to people because he was smart to include what that spotlight, what the subject matter is. So he's continuing to promote the whole collection, which is just awesome. So I'm going to come back to this page because I'm going to actually send you a link to this page. In a follow-up email that I'll send to you so that anybody else who wasn't able to attend can see and get a little bit of an overview in addition to the recording. And then you guys can come back and take a closer look at some other functionality and other examples of things like what opt-in pages could look like. And get example of some of those book rivers that I was talking about. And just look a little more closely at things that are of specific interest to you. So I'm going to pause again. I feel like I've thrown so much information at you. So want to again check in to see if you have questions. But I know that Lindsay and Judy and I were all available to you and would be just delighted to answer any questions either now or later. And you are most definitely welcome to do a trial. Lots of think about a real life situation, the thing that you want to promote next, and use the trial for that purpose. And just really make sure that we've got the functionality, the templates, and the resources that will be most helpful to you. And just kind of just try it on and see what you think. So if you would like to do that, I'm delighted to set that up for you.
It looks like we
Absolutely.
do
I
have a
would love to
question too.
go in and I mean, yes, we've gone over a lot of information, but you've made me very excited to want to start using this because I'm just absolutely blown away.
Oh, good. That is just fabulous to hear. And the other thing I'll tell you too, in addition to really thinking that it just makes great good sense to put any product through its paces, um, the other thing too is that we have an amazing customer engagement specialist. Her name is Jessica Lynn, and I'm smiling because I I crack her up because I call her she's inspo. She provides the inspo during your trial because she will feed you ideas. I'll tell her things that you mentioned during the demo, and she will send you some suggestions like, "Hey, if you thought about this, and did you know about this?" So she'll feed you those great ideas kind of along during your trial. But honestly, I would think of a true real life situation and just pretend like you have this product. And that way, if you decide to purchase, you get to keep everything you make in your trial. So then you'd be ahead for whatever's coming next. But it's a really great way to just test it out. And that functionality that I mentioned about live chat, that's also included in trial. And so, oh boy, just ask away. That's what they're there for. That's what you're paying for, is really being able to take advantage of getting that help when you need it. So you can take full advantage of that as well.
It looks like we do have a question from Sandy too. Where do you set up the social media information to be able to send out newsletters?
I will show you. Let's see. So social media is here. So this is where you authorize access to your pages. So any posts that you want to do, anything that you create. So let's just go into one of my things. Oops, I'm gonna make my page smaller again just because it's, there we go. A little easier to see that, see the whole shebang here. So if I wanted to post, let's find a good kind of book flyer kind of, oh, this one, that's a good one. So if I wanted to post this to social, I clicked on edit. And sorry, Sandy, I didn't have my chat open, so I did not see your question. So apologies about that. So again, I'm making it smaller just so you can see everything. So here's my sad Kathy's Library logo. See, I did not work hard on that logo. Yours would look much better. But anything, when you want to do any kind of editing, got the ability to drag and drop over things. We didn't really talk about that, but I just wanted to show you a little bit about that. But anything that you do like this, you can pull it up. You also can click on it and just post it right to social media and either schedule it now or later. So that's one thing that you could just do with all the different things that you've created. But you were asking specifically about newsletters. Can you kind of restate your question again? What you would do with your newsletters is you would think about and add subscribers and start building this subscriber list, and then just schedule out any newsletter that you wanted to go ahead and send out.
And that has, like we have Facebook and we have Twitter and Instagram. So we could set all that information up with our URLs and things like that.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
part of your
okay.
support setup. Yes, sure is. Yeah, they would activate all of that for you. And the only thing you can't do because of the way Instagram is, you can't post directly to Instagram from within Library with Facebook, but we do have some resizing that you can do and then post a little bit more. It's not like as simple as a click on the thing, post it. It's just one more step, but it's still possible. And that would be something you'd want to test. But you can see here that you can either publish immediately or in the future. And that's something too to know. If you did start to build subscriber groups, you could just choose like which group you'd like to send out this particular e-blast to. And for anything that you post in your catalog, if it happened to be a flyer that you wanted to post, maybe you want to send the flyer to Facebook, so you do that, and then you think, oh, I should put that in our catalog too, so you do that. If it's event oriented, you can set the date, the expiration date, so that it will disappear from your catalog once that event is over with. So that's something that I like to kind of call out because I think that's pretty useful, so you don't have to remember to go and remove something again. So, and then I didn't mention, which I should have, down here, okay, so on the left is that chat functionality I was telling you about. And over on the very far right corner, we've got all of our different help kinds of materials too. So you can do things, again, just very step by step. And I say this because when you have a trial, it's really easy to get kind of almost distracted, like about wanting to know everything about it. You can do that for sure, but if you know you just want to focus on a couple different things, like maybe flyers or maybe social posts, you can find just specific information about that one thing that you would like most to do. And you can get that in the form of either a step-by-step kind of cheater pants sheet or video tutorials. We've got lots of different things for different ways that people like to learn. So that we do that. Oh, and I forgot something really good. This is for me because I always crack my team up because I'm terrible at design. Truly. It's like saying when I tell people I can't dance, I really can't dance. I'm not just saying it. Same with design. And I say this because this is something else we did in response to feedback that we got from a particular site. They said, our staff doesn't know what good looks like. And I took that feedback right back to my team because I am that person who doesn't know what good looks like. And so this is I just love this because it's just soft. It's suggestions. So if you've got staff who you know will be doing flyers and you want to make sure they look good, this shows them what good looks like and gives suggestions so they can see for themselves not only what good looks like, but what the screen in LibraryAware that helps them achieve that good look looks like. So just things like, hey, use the same photos in the same way. Like this. This is my favorite. So that way people will recognize this program because you kept it consistent. So I love this, and I love that we did it in response to feedback, and they were pretty happy about it too. So I'll request a trial for you, and Sandy, if or actually Kate, I know I have your email, so if you'll forward to Sandy the follow-up email, and then you guys can share it with anybody who you think would benefit. It has a 5-minute PowerPoint minus all the Kathy yak, so that anybody else who you want to kind of introduce just the kind of high level concepts, that the link to that is included, and then also that example page, this one that I was showing you is also included now. And we like to send this email because we actually use LibraryAware for everything that we do at Novelist. And so we just use it for all of our social posts, for email follow-ups that we do. And that way you can see what it feels like to be a recipient and just see what the product's capable of that you'll receive. And it has just good stuff because you can see for yourself all the different examples, as I mentioned before, about things that other libraries are doing and get a little bit more of a sense of it. So the trial just takes usually, let's see, it's Tuesday. You probably will have it by the end of the week. And the next thing that will happen is that you'll get an email from our support team, and they'll give you your login credentials. And then you can actually also invite anybody else you would like to invite in the way that you saw from LibraryAware from this admin section.
Okay.
So it's under org access, and all you do is just type in their name and you send it to them, and you can see when they confirm and gain access. But that's what Jessica will help you with, anything like that. Any questions you have, or remember that chat, any questions about any part of it at all, just don't hesitate to ask our support team because they're really amazing. They do good work and they're very patient. They're very nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. We sure appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. This was very informative and it was really, really good.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.